and welcome to today's webinar featuring Chadwick-BaRoss and Volvo Construction Equipment. Today, we're going to be talking about how to offset electric equipment costs using grant funding. My name is Katie Barrett. I'm the marketing manager for Chadwick-BaRoss, and I'm joined today by Mike Willett, our territory sales manager at Chadwick-BaRoss, and Paul Votrin from Volvo Construction Equipment Financial Services. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Well, thank you both for being here. We're just going to jump right in and tell our listeners a story about a case study for electric equipment and using grant funding to acquire that equipment for a specific project in New Hampshire. So, Mike, if you want to start, can you tell us about your customer's project and the vision they had for their town?
The project actually takes place in Lancaster, New Hampshire, a very small town in northern New Hampshire, about 3,500 people. And really the project started quite innocently. The town manager had seen something from the state of New Hampshire offering grants for towns that were quite attractive for solar panels to help offset some of their energy costs. We live in a very poor county, a very rural area. So the town manager passed this off to the manager of the transfer station and said, well, look into it, see if there's anything that is good for the town. And the manager, Rusty Scott, got looking at it, and it was very interesting to him. I wouldn't consider him a real green guy or environmentalist. He's just a regular working guy like the rest of us. But when he looked into those solar panels, the grant was good, and he thought there could be some really thousands of dollars of savings to the town. And we're all very sensitive about our property taxes. And so he put in for the grant, got it, and put solar panels at their transfer station. He was able to run his whole transfer station on those solar panels, all the balers and trash compactors and everything worked great. And so he ran it for 2 or 3 years with actually no electrical cost to the town, saving the town quite a lot of money. Then Rusty, looking through some other grants, found that the state offered another grant for electrical equipment or battery powered equipment. And he did a little more research in that, and he thought that he would have a good application for the the transfer station would be a good application for electric loader. And he's also looking into, for the town vehicles, the fire department, maybe some of the highway trucks, and even the police department for their cruisers, because they don't travel big areas. But so the first part was really just trying to do the right thing for the town, and started with the solar panels.
Excellent. So you mentioned that there were some financial benefit to this. Can you elaborate on that and actually also tell us how this vision of Rusty's could benefit the town both financially and environmentally?
Yeah, what it ended up going, as Rusty found out, I don't know exactly what the savings were. I think he told me for the compactors and the equipment, the electrical equipment that was at the transfer station, I want to say it was around $9,000 to $10,000 a year he was saving in power bills, because he was basically off grid, and he was making enough energy and storing enough energy that he didn't have to buy any power. So when we started looking at the loader, Rusty was really a little bit more educated on it than I was, and talked to me about it, and we started to learn the process together. So when we looked at the loader part of it, we said, well, it's got to have a couple things to make it work. First of all, we got to make sure the loader will do the job for the town, that the loader, there's a right application for this loader to excel in performance. And then financially, does it make sense? So the first thing that Chadwick did, we brought a loader up for him to try and use. We brought an L20, and it did very well. As you know, when you're running an electric piece of equipment, if you're not actually doing anything, you're not using any battery life. And their transfer station was open 4 days a week. And the first 3 days that he ran it, never charged it because he didn't have to, and still got all his work done. So we said, okay, we know this will work. So the second part is how do we get it to make sense? And how do we get it to pay for? Because it's, just buying it at list price is very expensive. So what we did, we brought Lars from Volvo right out, and we did like a little display or a demonstration for some of the other towns in the area and some of the colleges, and said, here's an electric loader, here's an electric excavator. Talk about them, go over them. And Lars is very helpful to answer a lot of the questions on application, durability, performance that Rusty needed. And it was important for Rusty to know this because if we got to the point where financially it made sense, he has to sell to the town. He doesn't have the authority to go spend that money. And the way the town is structured, that the citizens have to give the uh, basically the permission to go buy it to spend that kind of capital money.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, Rusty had done some uh, investigation and found that there was a federal grant, an EPA grant, that was being administered by the states. And in New Hampshire, it was administered by the Department of Environmental Services. So it was an application process to do this. And the applicants would be scored on need, application, and what they were going to do. But part of the scoring was you had to get rid of at least one diesel engine, and that meaning that it had to be destroyed, not just gotten rid of it, it had to be destroyed. At
Wow.
that time, they had an older loader that was in pretty rough shape and that needed tens of thousands of dollars in repairs. So to take that out of service wasn't very painful. So Rusty started the application process. The um, EPA stuff wasn't pretty good, but when he got to the state, it was like he got stuck in a vicious circle. Get some information, send it to the next person. Get the information from the next person, send it to another person. Not get what he wants, go back to the first person. And this went on for a couple months. So I'm staying with Rusty and trying to work him through it. And finally, he's telling me how frustrated he is because he can't get the answers he needs at the state level. And I've been involved with the state uh, politics and state doing so. I uh, I know the commissioner from the DES in the state of New Hampshire. I called him and said, "This is the problems we're having. This is the frustrations, and how do you help us? Give us someone that can walk us through the process to make sure we get this application complete." And within a few days, he did, and Rusty got the application complete. Um, and but we knew that he wasn't going to score. Didn't think he was going to score high enough to qualify for the grant. So we put our thinking caps on, and he had two diesel uh, engines at the transfer station. He had a loader, like I said, needs some repair, and he had a skid steer that he used also. So what we did is, and again, we looked at the application, said, you know what, let's get rid of two engines, offer them that we'll get rid of two diesel engines, and that I think the L20 will cover both production of both machines very comfortably.
Nice.
And that's what we did.
Excellent. How's it going? Is the transfer station up and running off grid? What kind of results has Rusty seen? Do you know?
It is completely running off grid, and it's been really, really awesome. Um, the uh, the performance of the machine's been great. His solar panels are still making enough power to run all his equipment plus charge his new loader. Um, it's been there for about a year now. We haven't done a service call on the machine. It's been flawless. Um, and it's really surpassed all of our expectations. Um, it's been very good. When we're going through the process, it was when L ended up, the grants paid for about 45% of the loader.
Wow,
So that really took the curse off the price and actually made it quite a lot less expensive than a diesel model.
that's incredible.
Uh, the other thing that Rusty did, and I give him a lot of credit, by having Lars from Volvo come out and the research that Rusty did, he had to do a presentation in front of town meeting. And for you folks that aren't from New Hampshire, every March we have a town meeting and go over the whole town budget. And there's um, warrant articles and stuff on spending. And Rusty got up at the town meeting in front of the whole town, gave his reasons why this was going to work for him, how it's going to save the town money for fuel, maintenance, oil changes, um, and what the cost was going to be, and avoiding the cost of the repair of the diesels he had. And the town said, yes, it makes sense, and gave their approval, and then we move forward.
Yeah, I think I have written down here from Rusty, who couldn't be here today. I believe in another conversation, he told us that the fuel savings alone were close to $3,500 a year just in fuel. Um, on top of all of the maintenance expenses, like you just said, Mike, from oil changes, filters, belt system repairs, and more importantly, the downtime that comes along with those, not just the expense of the repair itself.
When we talk about a lot of these electric initiatives, we're really looking at environment and green and stuff. And to give Rusty credit, that's very important to all of us. We all agree that we want to keep our environments clean, but the real turning point for Rusty was the financial savings. It was a money thing more than it was a green thing. And I think that if we look at it that way, it really looks a lot more appetizing than just looking at the green side of it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Thanks for that, Mike. Paul, I'm going to move on to you. We know that, not this grant was very specific, right? This is specific for New Hampshire, and not everyone who may be watching this is going to have the ability to do the research and find a grant that works for them. But what other options do our listeners have if they're hearing this story and electric is sounding more and more appetizing, like Mike put it? What other options do they have to get a piece of equipment in an affordable way from Volvo?
Yeah, if they're a municipal or governmental entity, we have a municipal lease product coming on board late 2026, which will afford them the non-appropriation clause that's needed for municipal leasing. Um, and that product will be amortized to a dollar option. So at the very end, it would be owned by the municipality. But the key part of that is the document language and having that in place for municipal financing. And again, we should see that come the middle of next year through Volvo Financial Services. Um, the flip side, from a private perspective, if a construction company, contracting company wanted to purchase uh, or lease one of our electric e-mob units, we have some great programs in place right now. We have a promotion for 72 months at 0%. Um, and we also have uh, loans and leases, both FMV and fixed purchase option leases in play. If a customer wanted to lease and just use the equipment and hand it back and or renew the lease at the end of term and refresh the piece of equipment. So both are available. Could purchase at the end also. That is an option. Um, but yeah, some great offerings there, and we're eager to help in any way we can. I know the more we understand as far as what the hurdles are for each individual customer, um, the more we can work with them to understand what we can bring to them as far as EMOB support.
That's a great segue into what I think is probably our last question, which is, do you have any tips on how to get started? If someone does have hurdles, they know they want a piece of equipment, but they're just not sure how to get it done, where would you suggest that they start?
Hey, after listening to Mike's experience with Rusty, I think a little research at the local level goes a long way. I think it's an ever changing environment as far as grants, et cetera. But I would also encourage anybody to reach out to their dealer representative. They have a better feel for what's going on locally. They may have seen something similar to what Mike experienced with Rusty, and point them in the right direction as far as opportunities to take advantage for federal subsidies and grants.
Great advice. And we would love to have folks contact us at Chadwick-BaRoss for sure. Well,
Absolutely.
thank you both for your insights into this topic, and thank you everyone who is listening to this presentation on demand. If you have questions for us or would like to reach out, you can reach us at the web address that you see on the screen, Chadwick-BaRoss/contact-us, or to schedule a time to talk to a sales rep near you. Thanks again, everybody, for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katie.